Hi everybody, welcome to Great Artist Deal. My name is Ian Ellis and we have a painting I'm going to interpret called The Song of Love by Giorgio de Chirico. De Chirico might not be known to many of you, but he's known as the Italian Picasso, born about the same time as Picasso, same period of time. And he was one of the main artists who inspired the Surrealist painters. This particular painting was very influential. In fact, the style of the painting is very much like Salvador Dali's. I think Salvador Dali was very much influenced by him. In fact, the movement de Chirico created before Surrealism was called metaphysical art. And actually, Dali was actually known as a metaphysical artist, which was a kind of like a polite way of saying he was influenced by de Chirico. Another painter, René Magritte, saw this painting and the absurdity of it. If you look at it, you've got Apollo, a statue of Apollo, a Greek god. And next to it is a rubber glove, and then there's a green ball, and at the back you see a train. So this looks like it could be the facade of a train station. A couple of arches here, and there's a little pin here, a little nail in the wall, which you won't be able to see, and it's a bit like this. You've got this kind of pin and a shadow coming off it. The shadow coming off the glove here, quite strong shadow. Really strong light coming from the side. Now, trying to make sense of this is quite a difficult painting. I mean, obviously, it's using a language which is open to interpretation. I'm making my own view on this, but it's obviously an image that's very mysterious. A lot of people are still quite puzzled by the image, and Magritte had a good reason to seeing it as an absurd image, and bursting into tears when they saw it. I mean, seeing de Chirico as a like-minded individual, but my interpretation is not so difficult to get. Once you see the hidden images in it, and what I've seen is in the hair is the thing that's the most important thing to me. Is the hair's different, and if you look at the actual statue that de Chirico was working from, this is or used as the main. This is Apollo, and with his lyre. And Apollo is a very important figure from a point of view. He was kind of idea of calmness. He would play music, and one of the big influences of de Chirico and a lot of artists at that time was Nietzsche. And Nietzsche's ideas. One particular book he wrote called The Birth of Tragedy, which I have not read. I don't know much about Nietzsche. But so The Birth of Tragedy, in it has this idea of Apollo is one side of the human mind, and the other side of the mind is Dionysus. And Dionysus is the Greek god of wine, so something about turmoil, frenzy. And Apollo was seen as the other side of the mind. And you can see how this kind of influence on a lot of thinkers at the time, a lot of psychologists, people like Carl Jung and Freud, Sigmund Freud. As well, but before I go into a bit more detail about that, what I want to do is just show you what I've seen in the hair. Now, to see the hair, you have to really look close at the statue and see the differences, because everything else is more or less the same. It's created this realistic image, but if you look at the hair, there's something. These little shapes here look kind of bird-like here. And there's much more form around this part of the fingers. The hair, and that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing fingers here, and I'm seeing a bird here. Now, this is hard to see from that position, but what I've done, I've just drawn it. And what I've done, I can just put in the little chick that's falling out of the hair. And that's not to be seen in this. And I've got another bird here, but it looks like it's got an eye there. It might have been caused by me with my pen a little bit, but then if I just show, if you put the eyes in, and I put the whole thing up there, putting the eyes in, what I see, this is what I'm seeing. That's two fingers, a bird, and two birds. Now, for me, that kind of gives an understanding of the whole painting, because if it's about a chick and birth, it suggests the painting may be about having babies. I think if you start looking at the painting, you start looking elsewhere. This is the other side of the painting with the glove, and the glove to me was that suddenly, and the movement of this, and the nail that looks like this looks like a sperm, so this becomes like male arousal. And if they're fingers, the hair of Apollo becomes pubic hair of a female. And so it's female arousal. And then we've got the point of the arousal, we've got the sexual behaviour obviously, and then you have the birth. So for me, this painting is about that. It's about humans having babies, as simple as that. And then you've got this fantastic hidden image in there, which is hard to see with the fingers. You've got a train coming in. The train obviously is a corny kind of metaphor for what we all know to be the train coming into the station and going out, leaving what's there and going out again. You've got the bull, so the bull then becomes a symbol of fertility. Now, just a few little things before I finish is just the idea where Apollo came from. I mean, and Nietzsche was very much, his book, The Birth of Tragedy, was very much thinking about the two sides of human mind, and Apollo was like a symbol of calmness, and Dionysus was the symbol of wine and passion. So the idea of the passion is in the painting, and what you're getting is this passion and the calm, the music, the love, and the song of love, where there's the actual, the title itself. At the time, de Chirico was a good friend of William Apollinaire, a brilliant poet at the time, and a massive influence on a lot of artists. And he wrote a poem in about 1904 called the song of the song of the poorly loved, or the song of the ill loved, if you translate into English, and apparently the song of love is more of a positive idea. There's no idea of the poorly or ill loved in this, so it's quite a positive image. I think it's a beautiful image, and well, that's my take on it. I hope you enjoyed that, everybody. The next painting I'm going to be looking at will be, in the interpretation, will be a Gainsborough painting, going back in time to the 18th century with Mr. and Mrs. Andrews. But the next video I'll be doing will be looking at the paintings of Anders Zorn, a watercolour painting by him, looking how he used the old master palette with watercolour. So I hope you enjoyed that, everybody. See you soon. Bye.